I'm just really scared now. I'm really upset.
Personally, I'm like really shocked.
I just don't know what's gonna happen.
So I found out that Trump won by waking up at 2 in the morning to the sound of my sister having a panic attack in my mom's bed.
Well, so I've been a Trump supporter since the first day, since the beginning. I'm a Republican, and I was expecting this result.
I'm just disappointed that there's such a stigma against women in power in this country.
I'm scared now. I don't know what I'm gonna do when he gets inaugurated.
I had to tell my 7-year-old sister, she had tears in her eyes that no, we don't actually have women in the White House. We won't have that. We actually have someone that represents the opposite of that.
And when I woke up, I don't think I truly woke up because I was scrolling down social media, Facebook, Instagram, trying to find out if it was a hoax or.
I don't know. I'm honestly still in shock. It's not like I didn't really see it coming, but it's still really shocking that it happened. I guess I'm scared for myself. I'm also scared for other people.
The corner deli owner tell me hurry up and buy. If everybody is somebody, tell me who am I? The same figure who came from Angwilla ain't nothing different. I think I'm addicted to
you think you leave in 5? Stayed on your conscience over the key. Your eyes skim surface too deep.
We're living in some times that's the craziest. They say these legislators are the laziest. Dedicated religious figures have gone atheist. Each and everything must change. There's no escaping this. Go and get the bolt cutters. Open the floodgate. Any relationship I've ever been in was love-hate. They shot my cousin, he died. It wasn't justified. I guess I'll see him if I make it to the other side. The corner deli owner tell me hurry up and buy. If everybody is somebody, tell me who am I? The same figure who came from Angwilla ain't nothing different. I think I'm addicted to pain killer. I'm unpermitted to enter the village of Shane Griller. I'm depicted as being the killer that's dangerous, huh?
We're not allowed to have a voice. We ain't allowed to think. You feel me? But I'm a whole human being. You feel me? It's like I could break somebody down using violence or my mind. I'm a whole human being. I bleed, I think, I feel. Just like a white kid. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged.
And I think it's great for this man. I would look at it differently. That he has he has a taste in women. He likes women. He comments about women pretty, or etc. etc. I think that's lovely.
It's a bad role model for boys and girls. Boys think this is okay, and girls think that they're not worth anything.
And I think on both sides, on the Republicans and the Democrats,
The response has been, yes, but let me explain it to you. Let me justify it for you. And I think what we have to do is just say, this is
I have a
wrong.
huge question mark on how mass media is treating us as candidates, as society.
So it's not going to be a big force of new legislation that everybody's going to dislike. It has to get through both houses of Congress.
I think he's doing this because he really does love this country and saw that it was going in a bad direction.
And I pray every day that Donald Trump will do the right thing. That's all I can do at this point.
Say what you will, 2016 was a busy year. Some good things happened, and some bad things happened.
The UK has voted to leave the European Union.
It brought death.
Fidel Castro has died.
Alan Rickman has died.
The news rushed through the room that David Bowie had died.
Singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen has died.
Christina Grimmie, rising to fame on The Voice, was signing autographs when she was shot.
Silverback gorilla who was shot and killed at the Cincinnati Zoo.
And it brought protests.
As we continue to see now demonstrations, this one outside Trump Tower in New York City.
We saw some losses and some victories. No matter who you are or where you're from, this year affected you in one way or another. For the time being, I want to focus on a specific group of people, the ones whose voices mattered but didn't count. 17-year-olds.
Hi, my name is Sophie, and I'm 17.
My name is Jose Hannon. I'm 17.
My name is Dylan Burgoon. I'm 17.
My name is Maeve, and I'm 17.
My name is Matthew, and I'm a 17-year-old.
And my name is Ben, I'm 17.
I'm Celia Goldfarb, and I'm 17 years old.
My name is Mackenzie, and I'm 17 years old.
As part of 2016, as part of 2016, not many good things happened in 2016, so I really got to think about the best, relatively.
The worst part of 2016 was probably just the election in general. Just having to deal with all that stress and ridiculousness.
Worst part of 2016, I say it's hard to find a specific date. I mean, you know, you have the presidential election, which I could go into in terms of like social politics, but you know, it's been a rough year. You know, people are making the joke that when they said that 2016 couldn't get any worse, it took it as a challenge.
The worst part of 2016 was wanting to vote but not being able to, especially because this election is probably one of the most important ones that I will live through.
I didn't know before how oblivious I was to politics. At least, you know, I took NSL and everything, but I didn't realize how it personally affected me. And this really personally affected me, and that kind of hit me like a brick wall, just how much I cared this year. And just how much I really wanted to get out there and say something, and almost couldn't.
Just really frustrating because I was so close to being able to vote, and it's so important to care about the future of your country, but I wasn't actually able to be part of this decision-making process. So as much as I tried, as much as I put my voice out there, as much as I had the conversations, it never is quite enough to be able to just talk about it. You have to be able to go out and do the action, to be able to go out and vote, to be able to actually be part of this process. So it's hard as a 17-year-old being so close, especially in such a polarizing election, but not being able to actually make the difference.
Okay, all right, so the election wasn't great, but how is it actually going to affect 17-year-olds?
It's coming at such a crucial time in our lives where we're looking at colleges and trying to decide what we want to do with the rest of our lives and what we want to major in. And for me, I always thought I wanted to major in art or film or media studies, something along the lines of that was much more self-serving. But now I'm thinking because Trump's presidency is going to coincide with my college years, I might end up gravitating towards something that's not as self-serving and will help the people.
I think that Trump's presidency is going to affect teenage girls in that they're going to feel unsafe. And I think that kind of creates a really bad atmosphere, a bad place to live in. I mean, I already know girls are running to get different types of birth control because they're scared they're not going to be able to, and so they're making quick, unsafe decisions which can affect them poorly in the future.
So there's always this sort of irrational fear that everyone, like the freshmen coming into my school now, up until people my age, are all people who didn't get to vote. And if Air Donald decides to start a war, we're the ones who would be drafted, and that's a terrifying thought. Realistically, the military doesn't want us, we have no training, and the draft won't be instituted, but there's always that nagging fear that we weren't allowed to participate in this political discussion on an official level, but if something happens, we're the ones who might be affected by it.
Okay, the election and the mere thought of its repercussions are two very scary things for 17-year-olds. But if you ask me, I don't think it left teenagers completely powerless. I mean, we must have gotten something positive out of this, right?
I think people realized just how much they could do even if they couldn't vote. I think people realized just how much their voices, could be heard, even if, you saw with the protests and the walkout that this was like actual news. I mean, there were local news crews, Fox News reported on it, and I mean, people just felt like they had their voices heard and they felt like they mattered. And when you can't vote, sometimes that's not the case, and I think this year a lot of people changed that.
2016 has taught me to expect the unexpected. This has probably been the year where if I had gone back in time and told myself that all of these things had happened, I just wouldn't believe it. Like, this year just doesn't feel real.
Not only did it really reveal to me a lot about the divides that still remain in our country, but it also revealed just how powerful our generation is and how amazing I think our future might be once we have control.
Probably the most memorable part of 2016 was a protest that happened here in which students marched in Washington and were able to demonstrate their political opinion, especially because a lot of these students weren't able to vote, so this is how they could get their voice out.
Everyone I know cares. Everyone is really passionate about it and wants their ideas heard and everything. So when we couldn't vote in what's an influential election this century so far, it's millennium so far, we couldn't say anything. So we got our voices heard in that protest. We went to DC and we stormed DC and we blocked off everything. And we said, this is important to us and we aren't just to be discounted. I really think it was a step up for us.
The march was just so powerful, and it made me realize that the 17-year-olds and the 16-year-olds and all of these people who couldn't vote in the election will be voting within the next 2 years and will be a strong political force, and that's so reassuring for me.
It was really impressive. I've never participated in anything in a protest like that before, and it was sort of very empowering to get to see kids like me making their voices heard.
Kids, 17-year-olds, even younger, we've come together and tried to make change, and we've become really involved in politics, and we've become really involved in each other in social aspects, and we've worked together to make things happen and kind of show that we're a force and that we have to be acknowledged.
2016, you've been pretty nice to me personally, but you've done some pretty messed up things, in fact, profoundly messed up things, and I don't think we can be friends anymore because I just don't trust you. You're so two-faced. I just never know what's going on with you.
If 2016 were a person and it was sitting right in front of me, I'd be that one guy that's like, oh yeah, I don't know this guy, I didn't come here with him.
If I were to look 2016 in the eye, I would say, I'll get over you.
It's been an interesting experience, and I would like you to leave now.
Dear 2016, you thought.
Hi, my name is Pascal, founder of 301 Records and rap artist. Today, we're going to be showing you how we make a song. Every good song has 3 components. 1, a good beat. 2, fire lyrics. And 3, delivery.
So the first thing I did was look through some drums. I found some samples. I ended up just finding this. And what I did was slice those drums and I made it to my own pattern, and I ended up just, I slowed it down. And next, for the actual, like, the structure of the song, I was looking through some samples of a song, like these jazzy songs. I ended up just finding this. And what I did was like slow it down, EQ the parts I don't want, and it ended up just sounding like something slow and chill. And together with the drums, it sounds like this.
Now we have a nice beat for me to write to. So I'm gonna take 10 minutes, just sit down, kind of close my eyes while listening to the beat, and try to come up with something. Usually I'll pick a topic, but I don't have that much time, so I'm just gonna do a kind of stream of conscious rap. I live a life for my mans always. You told me go with your folks, no way. I watch the birds fly until I'm free. The sun gon' fall and burn the sea, yeah. It's sober summer, but the trees started drinking. The leaves let go like the season they believed in. All of my friends stay good in the fall. Then homecoming comes and we run from the... If you want to check out my music, soundcloud.com/301records. And we're looking for people to work with us, so if you have any type of skills, make sure you approach me. Thank you.
president of Calligraphy Club. This is what we did today. This was Nina's idea, one of the club members. She wanted to have a snowman. So I taught them how to write snowman in Chinese. So this is shui, so that's snow. And then ren is man, or person. So snow person, snowman. And this is Katie's drawing, or Katie's calligraphy.
I've been learning Chinese for 6+ years now, and and my teachers have always sort of tried introducing calligraphy to us, but I've never really gotten the hang of it. So I thought Calligraphy Club would be a nice time to practice that. And also I was in China 2 years ago for a study abroad during the summer, and one of our arts activity was calligraphy, and I thought it was really beautiful. So I just wanted to hone in on that skill.
Well, I'm here because one of my very good friends has been in Chinese for a long time and introduced the concept to me. And I don't take Chinese. I've taken Spanish for 5 years, but it's still really interesting to see the art of holding the brush and the different strokes, even though I don't know their names still. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to connect to my friends' interests, and as well as opening up new horizons for myself. Well, it's important to help continue a tradition and a custom, and whether or not you are or you aren't of that heritage, it's important to better understand different cultures, as well as to expand your horizons and learn more. It's really fun, and it's therapeutic, sort of, especially for seniors, considering the time that we have applications due, and we may need a period to just forget about it all.
I'm Janet Snape. I was graduated in 1950. I'm looking here trying to see what is going on.
Known as Tony Ward, T-O-N-I, my real name is Tanisa, T-O-N-I-S-A, Ward. I went to Kensington Junior High. If you notice, they're building another school right on the exact same spot where the junior high was. This is going to be a middle school now. And when we were in junior high school, this isn't very nice to tell you, but the counselor came around the class and said, if you're going to college, you go to BCC. If you're not, you go to Blair. But anyway, so my mother said that even if I didn't think I was going to go to college, I should go to BCC. So education has a lot of value, and I value the education that I got at BCC, although if I'd been a better student, I probably would have benefited even more. I think it was, I don't know if I'd use the word conservative, but traditional. Traditional. Yeah, the things had not changed very much. Football, as you say, and things like that were sort of established and in place. They were not going to be changed. Also, for some reason, even good students had to be very careful about wearing the right kind of clothes. At least that's what it seemed to me, that because we were from Kensington, we were not quite on the same level as people from Bethesda or Chevy Chase.
What were the expectations on young women back then?
Oh, secretaries and nurses, maybe a nurse.
So even if you went to college, that was the most high-level position you could have.
And I don't think
teaching.
Go ahead.
Teaching would be
teaching, but I don't remember there being a lot of emphasis on anything except you probably would get married before you finished college, and which many people did. So I think there were not high expectations for a career. I think in my class of 53, there's only one woman who is a doctor. I don't think there are any. I don't know of any lawyers.
Well, I went to college, but came back and started working for Geico. So
for Geico.
I was there for 39 years. My father was gone. He was a chaplain during the war. So, and he was on Guam at the hospital. So he had all the things like MASH. And in addition, he did all the funerals I remember my mother and I and my sister went down to the Translux Theater where they showed things from the war for, all the time. Just rotated. And we actually saw my father standing in front of the cemetery.
In one of the reels?
We stayed for the next show.
Had a big impact on me in elementary school, and I never will forget the day that the war was over. We had a parade around the school building, and I played the clarinet, and we played the Star-Spangled Banner and My Country 'Tis of Thee as we were marching around. But yeah, the war, Second World War had a big impact in St. Louis, and there was a lot of anti-Semitic talk that puzzled my brother and me. We kept saying to our parents, what do they mean? Why are they saying those things? And parents try to explain it.
So, you want to do something with your time, eh? Well, today we're going to learn how to paint. First up, we're going to grab brushes. Amazing, right? Great. Now, get your paper down and make sure that your brushes are collected and they're the type you want to use. Want to count them out, maybe. Now gather your colors. Get the primary ones first. Yellow, blue, red, the usual. Maybe some black. We need more colors. That should do it. Now once you have your colors, gather up your materials and start putting them down on a palette. Palettes help you organize your colors in a nice, meaningful way. However, one thing about putting colors on paper, you don't want to put too much on your palette, or else it becomes a big mess, and you might end up wasting that color. It's better to put small amounts on, and with some colors you have to actually shake them up first before you dole them out. Now that you have your colors, think of something inspiring, think of something ambitious to do, like a face. And you don't really have to do any outlines or anything first, just go with it. Go with your gut. Feel it in your soul. Try something new. Mix colors. Make it interesting. Not just one color, you gotta make it many colors. Be bold. Be amazing. Look at that. Now see, we're trying a pinkish color here. That's pretty ambitious. Oh, where's that green going? Oh. Yes, you might have realized now you've made a mistake, and that doesn't look very good. That's okay. We can fix it. It's time to use that imagination. Right? So, think of something else you can make out of this. Let's see what's going on here. A watermelon. That's pretty creative. Way to use your imagination. Now, you get to sign it. Pick a good, clean space to put your signature and make it yours. Wow. Now you hang it up someplace where everyone can see. But hey, what are you going to title this masterpiece? Something fresh, something new, something amazing. Ha-ho! Classy! And that, my friends, is how you paint. Sort of. How many tours have you hosted since you made this tiny house?
probably about 40, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we started doing them in October of 2012. And maybe like, we were doing them actually once every 2 weeks, and then once every month, and they've generally been about once, at least once a month for the past 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a bit.
And how long have you been in this particular spot?
About a year and a half. I moved in August of 2015.
Of all the tours that you've done, are there any questions that, like, you wish people would ask, but they never have?
That's a good question. No one ever asked that question. I think, every once in a while there's like a question that just comes out of, left field that I'm kind of not, that I haven't heard before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been interesting to see kind of over the course of the past like 3 or 4 years how, it used to be people asking more lifestyle questions. People would kind of comment that no one was actually looking to build a tiny house. They just wanted to like figure out, how can someone survive in that, in that space. And now it's a lot of technical questions. Now people are, people who come to these tours are really coming to the tour to learn how to build a tiny house.
Yeah, like I noticed that today, like when people are asking all the legal questions and what happens with the water.
Yeah. And so to a degree, I do kind of, I miss the lifestyle questions a little bit.
You said that you don't usually use a lot of light when it gets dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you do then? Do you just sleep? Do you read?
I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of cooking, and that's a lot of my life. So I often, especially when it's kind of daytime or when it's I have some solar, I'll just cook a bunch. I generally will jar all that and freeze that, and then I'll usually just read a bit. I used to have I used to have like a really large TV up in that corner, and I got rid of that, and I used to have internet in the house. I got rid of that, and so I've actually like tried to design the space to be more intentional. I might just kind of lie somewhere and like listen to a podcast for an hour. So just trying to keep it fairly low key.
Yeah, you seem you mentioned earlier that you're a minimalist, and this seems very minimal, I guess. Have you always been a minimalist, or is this just something that like came about when you started building a tiny house?
I think I guess in short, I grew up. Growing up, my parents were divorced, and so I was kind of moving between houses, and then I was in foster care for most of my teenage years, and so I was used to moving around with few things and not really having a space of my own. And I think that sort of informed when I when I got a job and had my own apartment. I didn't have a lot of things to begin with, and I had started buying things, maybe to kind of fill the space, but it felt, a little bit hollow, and like I didn't really get any enjoyment out of those things. So there was a small period of time where, I had started accumulating, recognized that it wasn't actually anything that I was missing, and then, started downsizing from there. So at no point in my life did I have a lot of stuff. At no point in my life was I really ever kind of hoarding, and I feel like it's become a much more intentional choice now, as opposed to one that wasn't necessarily all that empowering. But yeah, I don't think, much has changed except for recognizing it, as what it is.
Cool. And what do you think is your favorite part of having a tiny house?
I think, definitely the financial freedom. I think when I built the house, I thought this will provide a lot of financial savings, in the sense that, like, it wouldn't change my lifestyle. I would continue, working and, saving money. I'd just be saving a lot more money than I otherwise would. And I think it manifested instead in, kind of producing financial freedom where, because the house costs pretty much nothing to exist. Its own utilities, kind of, rent can be had for free pretty much anywhere. It made kind of working more of an option instead of a necessity, and so that financial freedom, I think, I love, and the fact that I can go travel, come back, and the house is still here, and I don't have to like start worrying about rent payments right away or utility bills or anything like that. And then I think, differently, but to the same degree, just the sort of opportunities that the house has presented. I thought. Socially, I thought that when I built the house that no one really ever cared about it, and I would just sort of go, live in my, small house, and people would think that was weird, and that was kind of the end of it. And I was fine with that to some degree, but I think seeing, how much it excited people, and we've given tours where we've had 300 people to tour, and especially kind of at the old lot, we would have, every tour had hundreds of people at it, and it it's kind of felt like something more than just a living space, in the sense that it's created this, I've to some degree been kind of enveloped by this larger movement, which I didn't expect, and that's been exciting, I think.
Vanilla or rain?
Chocolate.
Airports.
So, my grandma's house.
Freshly cut grass. Apple cinnamon tea.
New shoes.
Citrus scented lotion.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Water.
Lavender. Lavender. Oranges. Beans in the...
Orange and cloves.
Tennis balls.
Pizza. Success. Chocolate.
Nail polish.
Pasta sauce. Febreze.
Flowers on a nice day.
The other day, I was passing the display, if we're to call it that, in the main atrium. As BCC, we accept, and the sign continues with a list of demographics that occupy this American hemisphere: Jews, blacks, immigrants, women, men, the litany of what any good political candidate would look at when deciding who to target in a race. And yet, my leftist side cannot conjure up those warm, liberal feelings that so many liberals do when such messages are displayed and thrown about. I'll return to the story, but I first want to tell a joke. There was once a man in a theater who needed to use the bathroom. He turned to his friend, said that he would be gone to the bathroom, and proceeded to search the theater for a restroom. And not being able to find one for several minutes, he decided to piss in a potted plant. When he returned to his seat, his friend said, "You missed the best part. A man was just there pissing in a potted plant." This joke illustrates how we are fundamentally unaware of the violence we contribute to the system, and it is only when we step back are we able to realize that we are the person pissing in the potted plant. We are the perpetrators of systemic violence. For a long time, the concept of systemic violence has been that is the background violence that inhabits our society, the mass poverty, oppression, and exploitation wrought by the capitalist system. But today, I offer that systemic violence has even poisoned the ways we attempt to fight violence itself. In essence, the more we try to stop violence, the more we perpetuate it, and so on and so forth. I'll return to the sign in the main atrium. I cannot endorse such a display because where did it say BCC accepts poor people? BCC accepts members of the working class. And is this not the problem to begin with? That the greatest act of violence perpetrated has not been by greedy businessmen or corrupt politicians, but by well-meaning liberals who, in promoting a narrative of otherness and in putting the whole of their energies into identity politics, have in essence robbed people of their working class identity.
My name is Maya Kairos. I am 17 years old and I'm originally from Uruguay.
Hi, I'm Baba Liu and I'm 17 years old and I'm from Albania.
I'm John Salidopoulos. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Greece.
My name is Valeria Vega.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm 18 and I'm from Colombia. was in my country, and there is a political issue in my country right now because we're at war. We've been at war for 52 years, and my family was unfortunately a victim of the conflict, and we were targeted by a group called FARC, and it was no longer safe for us to live in our country, so we had to move here.
Well, it's an opportunity for me to come and graduate from an American high school, and my father got a job, so I took it.
The main reason was for me and my brother to find a better education that was provided. Originally, my parents were thinking of leaving over for quite some time, but however, since I was starting high school soon, they wanted me to have a better education and get to a better college.
I was completely blown away. I mean, my mom, I remember she sat me down in the living room in my couch and she told me, and I honestly I couldn't believe it, because I just remember I cried a lot actually, because but they were mostly happy tears. I feel like inside I really did want to, I loved the possibility of coming back.
It was pretty tough on me, especially since I was in middle school, and I was really young too, and also like the barrier of language was a great deal to me.
I was lucky enough to come here with already kind of an idea of how the culture is and how people behave in this country, because I lived here for 2 years back when I was very little though, and I didn't remember much.
My friends in Greece are like, I know them for more years, but yes, I still have friends here, and I have fun with them.
I'm lucky enough to have a very close and loving family, and very supportive too, and friends too. I mean, I have so many friends back at home that I don't get to see, like, ever. Maybe the occasional Skype call or a few text messages, but being away from them, not being able to just share my experiences and what's going on in my life with them in person is just the hardest thing ever.
My biggest struggle has been actually adapting to a new environment. Being so young, we think of, oh, it's going to be easy for us because you're young, but being in a totally different country, having a new language to learn, and being with people that have different mentalities as you is not as easy. So that didn't come as easy for me either. I had to go to an ESOL school, 8th grade, and that just kind of set me apart from the other kids. I was the ESOL student instead of the American student, the typical one. So, but you definitely, as years pass by, you definitely get used to the idea of you being foreign, and you actually embrace that.